Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Easley. In order to give you some more tools for reviewing for the U.S. Constitution test, I wanted to go through these review questions and just give you the answers to these. We'll be going over these in class, but if we don't get through all of them, I wanted to make certain that you had this option that you could go over these and make certain that you got the right answers. Question number 1, Thomas Jefferson. Question number 2 would be Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1776. July 3rd or July 4th would be perfectly acceptable answers. 1776. Question 3, Articles of Confederation acted as the first constitution, setting up a form of government for the newly independent states. 4, if you remember, the Articles of Confederation lacked a strong, powerful central government. It lacked a power to tax in order to fund issues, and it lacked a court system so that the federal government did not have an ability to settle disputes between the states. 5, Constitutional Convention met between May and September of 1787 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 6, major problems that had to be solved in the Constitutional Convention between the large states and small states. Remember, we had the struggle for power, the struggle for representation, and how the states would be represented in this new government. So we had 2 opposing plans: New Jersey plan, which the small states favored; the Virginia plan, which the large states favored. Of course, we see a combination of the 2 under the Connecticut plan, or Great Compromise, where we see 2 houses of Congress, 2 houses within the legislative branch, one based on population and one based upon equal representation. 7, Jefferson was, his main objection was a lack of a Bill of Rights. He felt that the Constitution needed a Bill of Rights in order to protect citizens' rights. 8, what was the purpose of the preamble? The purpose of the preamble is it's the introduction to the Constitution and lists the 6 main goals in establishing a new government. 9, 7, there are 7 articles. 10, Article 2. Question number 11 is Article 5. 12, there have been 27 amendments to the Constitution. Question number 13, what is meant by representative government? The people elect representatives to go to government to convey our feelings, thoughts, concerns. That is, by definition, what a republic is. The United States is a republic. We choose and elect representatives to go to our government on our behalf. 14, terms of office in the Senate are staggered so that there's always experienced officials in office. 15, if a senator cannot finish a term, the governor of that state makes an appointment until the office comes up for re-election or a general election can be held. 16, who is the president of the Senate? The president of the Senate is the vice president of the United States. There are 100 senators in the United States Senate. 17, 2 per state, and their term of office is 6 years. 18, a senator has no term limitations. 19, qualifications for a United States senator are at least 30 years of age, a U.S. citizen for at least 9 years, and must live in the state being represented. For a U.S. representative or congressman or congressperson, representative must be at least 25 years of age, a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and they must live in the state and district being represented. 20, there's a really good chart on page 435. I believe it's 435 in your textbook. But a bill is introduced in either house and is then sent to committee. After committee approval, it's brought to a vote before the total membership of that house. If approved by a majority of that house, it's sent to the other house for passage. After passage by both houses, it's sent to the president, and if signed, it becomes a law. It's just that easy. But it's not that easy, is it? 21, sessions in Congress are numbered. Each time the House begins anew, which is every 2 years, Congress gets a new number. In January of 2011, Congress began the 112th Congress. In January of 2013, the 113th Congress will begin. 22, the major powers are raise, borrow, and coin money, support armed forces, declare war, regulate immigration, issue copyrights and patents, and regulate commerce. In addition to these, under the Elastic Clause, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18, I believe, Congress has the power in areas not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. 23, Congress cannot violate the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. It cannot pass ex post facto laws. It cannot pass bill of attainders or suspend the right of habeas corpus. Nor can any member accept gifts or a title of nobility. 24, basically this says that each state must accept the laws, records, and decisions of all the other states. So if you decide to run off to Vegas and get married by a man in an Elvis suit in a drive-through chapel, when you come back to Missouri, you're still going to be married. 25, to enforce and administer the laws passed by the legislative branch. What is the responsibility of the executive branch? To enforce the laws. 26, what are the two most important officials in the executive branch? That would be the president and vice president. 27, must be a natural-born U.S. citizen, at least 35 years of age, and a resident of the United States for at least 14 years. 28 is 4, and they may serve 2-term maximums, or for a grand total of 10 years. 29, a pocket veto is when the president does not act on a bill and the session of Congress ends. The bill is considered vetoed. 30, the president is commander-in-chief of the armed forces. 31, I'm going to make certain that we discuss in class, but in the executive branch chapter on the executive branch in your textbook, you might want to look at each cabinet position and be familiar with them. 32, Senate. 33, Senate. 34, the president. 35, the president notifies Congress and the vice president assumes the duties until the president is able to resume office. If the vice president and the majority of the cabinet feel that the president is unable to serve, the vice president assumes the duties even if the president does not request it. Disputes are settled by Congress. 36, the Electoral College is a group of individuals appointed by each state legislature who vote for the presidential candidate that receive the most popular votes in their state. 37, January 20th, following the election. 38, we have foreign affairs, domestic administration, legislation, appointments, and judicial functions. 39, Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, and then the district courts. 40, question number 40 is 9. 41, they are appointed by the president. 42, they serve life terms. 43, judicial review. It's a process of interpreting the meaning of the Constitution. As changing conditions arise, the Supreme Court can interpret the meaning of the Constitution differently, changing the meaning of the document. And of course, that was given to us by Marbury versus Madison. 44, Supreme Court. 45 is Chief Justice. 46, 2 ways an amendment to the Constitution can be proposed. Congress may propose an amendment by a 2/3 vote in each house, or 2/3 of the states may require that Congress call a constitutional convention to consider amendments. 47, for an amendment to be ratified, 3/4 of the state legislatures approve it, or special conventions in 3/4 of the states approve it. 48, the important checks and balances have been built into our government. The executive branch may check legislative by veto. Legislative may check executive by passing laws over that veto by a 2/3 vote. Judicial may check both by declaring laws unconstitutional. Vocabulary you need to know. 49, ratify means to approve or accept. 50, means to amend, means to change or modify. 51, lobby, an attempt to convince a representative of a specific point, change their opinion. 52, a treaty is an agreement between two nations. 53, veto means a rejection of a bill. 54, federalism is a system in which power is divided by the central and state governments. It's that sharing of power between central and state governments. And 55, compromise. That's an agreement where both sides give a little in order to settle an issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I certainly hope that this helped you in your review. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to look me up.